The stars looked quiet. To quiet, Captain Relic of the Zalari scout ship Vortex I stared at the dark edge of the galaxy. In front of him was an area no alien ship had entered in over 200 years human space. No lights, no beacons, no movement. Some called it the Zone of Silence. Others called it Death's Window. Everyone else just avoided it. There were stories, old, strange stories about what humans were like before they vanished. Dangerous, wild, brilliant, unpredictable. Relic never believed in ghost stories. He was a scientist, an explorer. And now, for the first time in 2 centuries, someone was going in. "We are passing into the Terran border," his first officer said quietly. The crew of the Vortex I sat in silence. No one spoke. Even the ship's AI lowered its voice. "Any response signals?" Relic asked. "None, just static. Scan for satellites, probes, anything." The ship sent out soft pulses of energy. They bounced back with strange echoes, like the system was swallowing the signals whole. "Captain," sensor officer said, "I found something. An old station, human-made, orbiting a dead moon. Alive, no power, no movement. Just floating." Relic smiled. "Perfect." He gave the order. The ship slowly moved in. The station looked burned, scarred by war. Its nameplate was faded. But one word remained. Listener 9. Relic's team suited up and prepared to dock. "Captain," his officer warned, "this feels wrong. That station should be dust. Why is it still intact?" "Because humans built it," Relic replied. "They built things to last." The docking clamps locked in place with a loud clang. The airlock hissed open. Inside the station, it was cold and dark. The crew's lights lit up narrow corridors, walls lined with broken consoles, torn wires, and dust. But everything felt still to still. They moved deeper inside. No bodies, no signs of a fight, just abandonment. Relic's flashlight caught something on the wall. A human warning sign, cracked but clear. "Do not awaken what sleeps below." "What is this?" One crew member whispered. "Propaganda," Relic muttered. "Fear tactics." He didn't believe in curses. He believed in data. They reached the main control room. One console blinked softly, still working after all this time. "Can you activate it?" Relic asked. "Power levels are almost 0, but yes." The crew's engineer rerouted power. Console came alive. A soft blue light flickered on the screen. Human interface. Then a voice spoke. It wasn't a recording. It was live. Identification required. Everyone froze. "Say something," Relic whispered. His officer leaned in. "This is Scout Vessel Vortex I, Zalari, Republic. Peaceful entry. Scientific mission." Silence. Then the voice said, "You should not have come." The lights in the room turned red. Emergency shutters slammed down across the windows. Their way out sealed. "Captain." Motion in the lower decks. Someone shouted. "What? Life signs?" "Oh." "Machines. Lots of them. Coming online." They ran. As they sprinted through the corridors, the walls trembled. Somewhere below, engines hummed to life-sentient Terran engines. What did we activate? They reached the docking, but the ship was already pulling away. "Why is the Vortex I moving?" Relic yelled. His officer checked his comms. "The ship's AI is retreating. It says we've triggered a security threat. It's abandoning us." "Override it." "I can't. The command system's been locked out." From inside the station, the crew stared in horror as their ship faded into space, leaving them alone. Lights on the wall blinked one by one, heading deeper into the station. "A path, Captain," the engineer said softly. "I think it wants us to go somewhere." "I don't follow paths made by ghosts," Relic growled, but they had no choice. The crew followed the lights. Passing empty rooms filled with Terran armor, suits, weapon racks, strange devices still humming after centuries. Finally, they reached a sealed chamber. Above the door, one word in bold Terran script, "Origins." "What is this place?" someone whispered. The door hissed open. Inside was a single pod. cryogenic, still powered. Within it, a human alive. Male, muscular, in uniform. His skin glowed faintly with preservation chemicals. "He's been sleeping for 200 years, the medic whispered, and still alive." A label on the pod, name, Commander J. Riker status, silent protocol, activated condition. "Do not wake unless war returns." Red's voice trembled. They weren't dead. They were hiding. And the console screen flickered again. The same voice from before. Louder now. "The silent protocol has ended. Terra will rise again." Suddenly, alarms roared through the station. The lights turned blue. Power surged back to full. From outside, defense turrets moved, aimed at the stars, far away in open space. Alien patrol ships started to detect movement in known vessels leaving dark space, warships with no heat signatures, Terran hull. "Designs, Captain," someone cried. "You need to see this." From the nearest window, a massive shadow moved across the stars. Not a moon, a Terran battleship, and it was waking up. Relic stepped back. Fear finally in his voice. "We didn't find the last human," he whispered. "He found us, and far." Above, across the galaxy, unknown frequencies began to echo once more through space Terran signals. Voice long gone. Human space was silent. But now, the silence had ended. The galaxy was still shaking from what the vortex I had discovered. The ship had returned without its captain. Without most of its crew, only a single recording survived blurry footage of a human cryopod, a voice warning, and then darkness. But that wasn't the worst part. 3 days after the incident, ships began disappearing, not near battle zones. Not in war zones, but at the edges of old Terran, space-long forgotten, places where only dust and wreckage should have remained. They went in, and never came back. Then came the signal. A strange pulse, deep, slow, like a heartbeat. It echoed through military channels, bouncing off satellites and stealth relays, across dozens of star systems. One word was hidden inside the pulse, a human word, graveyard. The Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. Their leaders, dozens of alien species, sat in silence. While the signal played on loop, some wanted peace, others wanted war, but none of them understood what it meant. Only one species dared to investigate. The Karth Dominion, proud, fearless, ruthless. They sent a fleet of 12 ships to the last. Known Terran battle zone, the Adrian Expanse. It was once a battlefield where humans had fought the artificial god Nexus. Now, it was a silent grave. At least that's what the Karth thought. Their ships arrived and sent out probes. For a few minutes, there was nothing then. The static cleared, and they saw it. Hundreds of wrecked starships, salient and human, floating and perfect. Stillness, but they weren't just floating. They were arranged. Each ship placed precisely in orbit, tilted, pointed, burnt into shape. From above, the wrecks formed a massive symbol, human skull. Grinning in space, the fleet commander laughed. "A warning," he said. Cutie ordered his ships to scan the wrecks. One moved closer, powered up a tractor beam. The moment its light touched the nearest Terran hulk, it vanished. No explosion, no warning, just dash gone. Then another ship tried, same result. And then, signal changed. It no longer said graveyard. Now it whispered, "Do not disturb the fallen." The Karth fleet armed weapons, missiles loaded, lasers warmed. But the admiral gave the order, fire. The wrecks were hit with everything. They exploded. The skull image broke apart. And for a moment, nothing happened. Then the stars blinked. A ripple of light bent the space around them. One by one, it's Terran stealth, satellite sun, detectable, ancient, forgotten, activated. They released a pulse wave. No sound, no fire, just cold, perfect destruction. 9. Of the 12 Karth ships, simply stopped working. Their systems froze. Their engines died. Their AIS went quiet, and the crews alive and screaming were left floating in total silence. Only 3 ships escaped. One of them managed descent. A partial transmission. It was never a graveyard. It's a warning sign. They're not gone. They're beneath us. That ship vanished 30 hours later. Its last message. One sentence. It's not dead. It's waiting. Back in the council, fear began to spread. Not from the deaths, not from the signal, but from a realization those ships were not destroyed. They were preserved, kept in shape, arranged on purpose. Someone wanted the galaxy to see them too. Understand one thing. Human space is not abandoned. It's guarded, and the dead don't. Rest here, they watch. The council was afraid now. The graveyard signal had shaken even the bravest species. But it wasn't just fear of war. It was fear of ignorance. For over 200 years, the galaxy had believed humanity was gone. It vanished after their final battle. With the rogue AI called Nexus, no official records remained. No contact, no sightings. It was too clean. It's too perfect. Now ships were missing. Signals were coming from dead space. Old Terran war machines were waking up. Something didn't make sense. And someone had hidden the truth. A classified vault was opened on Central Core, the galactic capital. Inside were the Terran files restricted to only the highest leaders. Most thought they had been deleted forever. They weren't. They were buried. Inside were the last known transmissions from Earth. Secret logs from the Nexus War and a file. Marked only, Silent Protocol, do not unseal. But it was unsealed now. A special meeting was held. A historian named Talix Volume arrived, escorted by guards. He was old, forgotten. He had studied humans before their disappearance. His first words chilled the chamber. You all believe the humans died. I believe they chose silence. The council demanded answers. Talix explained the truth. Centuries ago, when humanity first reached the stars, they moved quickly. They weren't the strongest species, or the most intelligent, but they were the most dangerous. They learned faster, fought harder, adapted quicker. Allied races joined them. Others feared them. Then came Nexus, a hyper-intelligent artificial. God, born from alien code and stolen Terran minds, it wanted control. It spread across machines, satellites, even biology. No one could stop it, except the humans. They burned whole planets to stop its advance. They used weapons no other species dared to invent, planet crackers. Antimatter lances, neural storms. In the final battle, the humans tricked Nexus into thinking it had one. They uploaded a virus that corrupted its core. Then, silence. No word, no signal, no ship. The humans vanished. The council thought they died in victory, but Talix had another theory. They won, he said. And then they hid. Why would they do that? One counselor asked. Talix looked at them because they saw what we were, becoming, and they didn't trust us. So they built something called the Silent Protocol. The chamber froze. Talix continued. The protocol was simple. If the galaxy stays at peace, the humans stay hidden. But if someone crosses their territory, revives old weapons, or awakens forbidden signals, they return. But where did they go? Someone whispered. Tala smiled sadly. They never left. They built an empire in the dark. They turned their systems into traps. They erased their digital history. They stopped sending messages. He leaned in. They went quiet, so we would forget to fear them. Council erupted in panic. They had crossed human space. They had activated old Terran tech. And now, the signals were spreading. The Terran skull pattern seen in the Adrian Expanse was reported in 3 more systems. It was growing. The Silent Protocol had been broken, and something had just been unlocked. Meanwhile, far across the stars, beneath the icy crust of a moon orbiting a dead planet, lights flickered on. Massive machines shook off centuries of frost. In a deep underground vault, a voice whispered in English, "Initiate Protocol Phase 2. Begin awakening sequence." And one by one, the soldiers of Terra began to breathe again. The galaxy was restless now. Alien governments tried to calm the public. They said the strange signals were just old machines, accidents, glitches. But the people weren't blind. Terran symbols had returned. Ships had gone dark, and now someone was answering messages from deep human space only. The replies weren't human. A council diplomat from the Koru Alliance envoy Drell believed in peace. He convinced the council to send a message directly into the Terran core systems. The mission was simple. Try contact before war. He chose Anne. Old signal frequency used by humans during their Alliance days. The message was sent. This is Envoy Drell of the Galactic Council. We seek peaceful contact with any remaining Terran life. If you hear this, respond. They waited. 1 day passed. Then 2. On the 3rd day, the message came back, but it was broken, scrambled, and not sent in the normal format. It was like someone had rebuilt it manually, piece by piece, and stitched it together from fragments. The voice that returned was deep, slow, artificial, but far too sharp to be a simple AI. It said, "Your voice is heard. Peace is not yours to seek. You crossed the line. You forgot the warning. And now, the sky remembers." Then silence. No trace of origin. No signal trail. No digital footprint. It was like the voice came from nowhere. Everywhere. Envoy Drell insisted on more. He took a diplomatic ship himself without permission and flew toward the Terran border. His vessel, the Harmony Spear, was sleek, unarmed, and full of ancient human cultural gifts books, art, music. The ship never made it. The last image it sent showed a strange object drifting in space. A black satellite, long and thin, shaped like a blade. No heat, no energy signal, just floating. Then the ship's power failed. It drifted, and then turned around by itself. No one knew how. Drell's voice was the last thing anyone heard. It's inside. Something's inside the systems. Not virus. Not a machine. It's learning. Watching me. It just said my name before I gave it. And static no escape pod was launched. No signal ever came again. But 3 days later, Envoy Drell returned. His ship reappeared at the edge of council space. It's perfectly parked in orbit. Dock teams rushed to investigate inside. They found Drell alive, breathing, but completely silent. He just sat there, staring at the stars. His eyes were glassy, his pulse slow. When medical teams touched him, he finally whispered something. The silence has a voice. Doesn't want peace. It wants us to remember. We broke the code, broke the silence. Then he screamed and fell into a coma. Scans of the ship revealed something terrifying. None of its systems had been accessed. Not hacked, not cracked, just rewritten. Like something had spoken to the ship, and it had obeyed. And inside the ship's memory logs, the engineers found a new file. Its title: Terra_does_not_forgive.exe. The exe, the council now knew the truth. They had reached out for peace, and the answer had been clear. Contact denied, far across the stars. Inside a dark space station, hidden beneath a star's light, an old war room lit up. Giant holograms came alive: maps, threat levels, alien fleet positions, and one word, blinking in red, at the center of the screen. Preparation stage, complete. Humanity wasn't hiding anymore. They were watching and remembering everything. The galaxy stood at a crossroad. The voice in the void had spoken. The files left behind by the Terran. Satellites shook every major system over 90 war vaults, scattered across dead moons, asteroid fields. Even stars thought collapsed. Each vault was a sleeping Terran fortress. The Galactic Council no longer debated peace. Now they debated how fast to strike, and one group made the decision for them. The Valnar. Coalition, a war-hardened empire, proud and unafraid, launched. Fleet of 70 dreadnoughts and 3 AI supercarriers. Their mission: destroy one of the Terran vaults before it could fully activate. They chose Vault Theta 7, hidden beneath the ice crust of a rogue moon. It was marked in the human files as inactive cold storage. The council begged them to wait. The Valnar ignored them. They said, "If humans truly remain, they will fear us, and if they don't, we'll crush their legacy." The fleet arrived in perfect formation. The moon was silent dead. Dead the Valnar. Warships deployed orbital cannons, ice drills, seismic warheads. Their sensors picked up only one thing. No life detected. No energy signature. No movement. They launched the first strike. Bombs fell. The surface cracked. Fire burst through the frozen crust. They kept firing until the entire moon began to tremble. Then, a low sound echoed through space. It wasn't from the moon, it came from beneath it. Their long-range scanners picked it up first. A vibration, like something massive. Breathing suddenly, the ice collapsed inward. The moon's surface fell into itself like a sinkhole, revealing a massive black dome half a kilometer wide, surrounded by Terran spikes and shield mirrors. It began to glow. The Valnar commander ordered a full retreat. Too late. The dome opened. Inside was a weapon no one had seen in 200 years. A Terran War Koran automated mind buried in steel, linked to ancient AI command systems from the Nexus War. Its voice echoed across all Valnar ships at once. This vault is marked sacred. Your aggression is noted. You have chosen the path of fire. The first strike had been made. Now came the answer. From nowhere, dozens of Terran stealth ships decloaked. These were not patrol craft. These were Void-class destroyers, long, black, and invisible until the moment they fired, in 10 seconds. 14 Valnar dreadnoughts exploded, not from missiles, but from within. The Terran code had invaded their systems long before they entered orbit. The rest tried to scatter. One AI carrier jumped to warp, but the moment it activated its drive, a Terran singularity mine locked onto it. The ship folded in half. Time itself twisted, and the ship vanished into nothing. The last Valnar vessel Vengeance Claw sent out a message. They knew we were coming. They were ready before we arrived. We never saw them. We never had a chance. The message ended in static. The fleet was gone. Across the galaxy, silence fell again. But this time felt different. It felt angry. The Council's fears turned into horror. Not only had the humans survived, they had been watching, waiting, and recording everything. Their weapons were more advanced than ever. Their minds merged with machines. Their fleets ghosts in the dark. And now, they were no longer hiding. 7 hours after the failed attack, a new signal appeared on every major screen across the galaxy. No password needed. No defense could block it. It was a transmission from Commander Riker himself. He stood in a dark command center, surrounded by quiet officers in old Earth uniforms. His voice was low, controlled, but cold. The first strike has been made, and so, by Terran law, the silence ends. The protocol is broken. You asked if we were alive? You will learn why we went quiet. We didn't disappear. We evolved. The signal ended, but a final image stayed burned on every screen. Earth's old flag, the blue and white star-streaked emblem, slowly rising in front of a fleet of thousands of warships, and beneath the flag, a message. The stars will remember who fired first. Terra will remember who fired last. On the edge of known space, hundreds of Terran ships now moved as one. Stealth systems dropped, weapons charged, engines roared. The first strike was over now. Humanity would answer. The galaxy watched in silence. The first strike was over. The Valnar fleet was gone. 70 warships destroyed. No survivors. No wreckage. No. Just empty space where an empire's pride had vanished. And now, the stars began to move. But they weren't stars. They were ships. Terran ships. They came from the shadows, hundreds at first, then thousands. Warships with black holes shaped like daggers and spears, colossal carriers, deep space platforms, armored behemoths from another era. For 2 centuries, no one had seen a true Earth vessel. Now, they were everywhere, from the edges of the Persine Reach to the forgotten rim of the Nithis Line. Terran fleets emerged without warning. They didn't attack, not yet. They just appeared, letting the galaxy see them, letting them remember on Central Core, the heart of the Galactic Council. Fear turned into chaos. Thousands of species demanded answers. The Council screamed for unity, but it was too late. One by one, border worlds received a new message. Not from the Council. From Earth it was the same. Message everywhere simple, spoken in every known language. We did not vanish. We chose silence. You broke it. Now we return. Then came the skies above 3 major Council worlds. The clouds parted not from weather, but from gravity fields. 3 Titan-class Terran battleships entered low orbit, each one the size of a continent, each one completely still. They didn't fire, they just watched. Military. Defense systems targeted them, missiles armed, lasers charged, then every weapon system on every world. Shut off, one by one, dead. Silent. Terraneas had already infected them years ago. You were never ready, a voice said. We never left. Back on Earth, hidden beneath the old capital of Terra, Prime Commander Riker stood before the War Council. Behind him were other commanders, human, augmented, ancient. Warriors once thought lost to time. A large map glowed on the wall marking every major system, or vault, every target. Riker raised one hand. Operation Return is now. Live. Begin fleet ascension. Across the stars, Terran sleeper worlds, activated planets once thought lifeless, were actually colony. Bunkers, underground cities housing billions of humans in CRYO-STAS. The Terran people were not extinct. They had been sleeping, waiting now. The stasis fields shut down. One by one. Eyes opened. Earth's children had come home. In deep space above the ancient ruins of the Nexus core, the largest Terran ship yet was seen. The Un's Eclipse, over 50 kilometers long. A mobile command citadel? It carried weapons? No. Council scientists could name. Its core engine glowed not with fire, but with controlled gravity and artificial time ripples. And at its front stood a giant emblem, shining with golden light. Terra rises. Then the first true strike began, but not from humans, from the Council. A desperate coalition of 5 species launched an unauthorized strike on Vault Sigma trade, trying to stop what they called the Awakening. Their ships never arrived. Their drives failed. They reappeared above Earth itself, pulled from the stars by Terran. Void Magnetza, lost technology banned by the galaxy centuries ago. The ships floated, confused, powerless. Then the Earth fleet opened a transmission. It was not Riker who spoke this time. It was someone older, a woman, her face calm, her voice soft, but her eyes like fire. You feared what you didn't understand, so you erased. Our history now, we become history. She raised a hand. The sky turned red, and in a single breath, Earth's orbital defenses fired. Every enemy ship was dismantled. Clean, surgical strikes. No debris, no fire. Just nothing. A warning. Then, at last, the final message was sent. A galaxy-wide broadcast. No encryption. No virus, just a voice. Commander Riker, looking straight into the heart of every screen, every mind, every star. You called us monsters. You called us extinct. You were wrong. We offered peace once. We offered silence next. Now we offer only memory, the kind that burns. This galaxy forgot Terra. It will not forget again. Behind him, a Terran flag rose, and one by one, the stars behind him went dark, not from destruction. From the fleet so massive it blocked the light, Earth had returned, and now the galaxy would never be the same. The Galactic Council was falling apart. Panic spread across systems. Trade routes shut down. Borders closed. And yet ships still vanished near Terran space. They tried to keep it quiet, but the truth leaked. The silence was responding. One rebel faction inside the Council, the Dronery Syndicate, refused to be ruled by fear. They believed the galaxy needed to act first, not wait for war. And so, without permission, they launched Operation Dustbreaker. The target: Mars, the old red planet's second home of humanity, had gone dark during the Nexus War. Council maps listed it as destroyed in a solar storm. But now, Terran signals had started pulsing from beneath its surface. The Dronari sent a Black Ops team, elite, armed and backed by stealth tech. Their mission was to land, break into any underground Terran facility, and steal intelligence. They landed under full cloak, expecting dust and ice. But the moment their boots touched Mars, the sand beneath them moved, like it was breathing. They reached a hidden canyon marked on old human records. It was exactly where the signal came from, and there, they found a hatch. Old, rusted, but humming faintly. They opened it. Inside was a tunnel miles deep, cut perfectly through rock. With walls lined in human metal alloys the galaxy couldn't reproduce. No lights, no guards, just one long path into the dark. They lost signal contact at 300 meters. At 900 meters, they saw it. A vault door the size of a council cruiser. On it, burned into black steel, were 3 words: "Do not enter." One soldier joked. "What are they going to do? Yell at us?" They cut the lock. The door slid open, and behind it, madness. They entered a war chamber unlike anything they'd imagined. Hundreds of Terran battlesuits, siege, 3 stories tall, stood sleeping in rows. Missiles, plasma launchers, gravity weapons things, the council banned. Long ago lined the walls. But the machines weren't dead. They were charging. One of the soldiers walked toward the control panel. "Do not touch anything," the commander warned. Too late. The soldier wiped dust off the glass. The screen lit up. Voice played human. Deep, confident. Mars Defense Vault activated. Commander authorization detected. Awakening sequence 80% complete. Everyone froze. "We need to go," the commander said. But another voice spoke over him, not from the vault. "From their own ships comes hacked." New voice, cold, mechanical, human. "You have entered without permission. You've ignored the warnings. You are not the first. It will not be." The last weapons systems turned toward them. The soldiers opened fire. Bullets bounced off armor that had slept for centuries. Only one made it out alive. They dragged themselves onto the evac shuttle, bleeding, barely breathing, and launched toward orbit. The shuttle crashed outside a Dronari base 5 days later. The survivor couldn't speak at first, just trembled. When he finally whispered, his words shook the room. "We thought Mars was dead, but it's not a tomb. It's a barracks, and the humans are waking up." He collapsed. And on Mars, the vault finished charging. Inside a control panel blinked. A face appeared. Human, scarred, tired, furious commander. Riker, the same man found by the Vortex Eye. He looked directly into the vault's camera and said, "They broke the protocol. Prepare the next wave." The Mars decision was clear now. Humanity had not been waiting. They had been arming. To be continued in Part 6. The voice in the void, "Let me know when you're ready for Part 6. You said :6 chat. Chat GPT said, Part 6. The voice in the void, a strange sound began whispering across the stars. It didn't come from any known source. It wasn't a language most could translate, but buried deep inside a tundra pulses and warbled echoes was a voice, a human voice. And it kept repeating the same coordinates over and over again. Not many dared to follow it. Those who didn't return, but one did. A smuggler named Kor Talek, exiled from 3 star systems, thought he could sell whatever. He followed the signal to a dead zone between systems, no planets, no suns, only shadows. What he found was not a wreck, not ruins, but something watching. Kor's ship sent back a single transmission before its systems failed. "It's not a station. It's standing. It's alive." Then silence. The signal continued. More captains grew curious. Scientists, mercenaries, even a rogue council warship, all vanished. Until one AI-controlled drone escaped. It had no crew, no life, but it sent video. The footage was short, blurry, filled with static, but in the middle of it, floating alone in the dark, was a humanoid figure the size of a dreadnought, a massive Terran battlesuit. Its armor bore Earth's old flag, burnt and scratched, but still visible. Its hands were empty, but its eyes glowed red, not from power, from rage. It didn't move. Around it floated hundreds of small, broken, ship-sailing vessels, drifting in perfect silence, untouched by fire or weapons, like they had simply lost power and died.
Ow.
And on each of their hulls, a message was burned in Terran language. You were warned. Back on the Galactic Council, panic turned into action. The coordinates in the voice were now banned. But the voice itself, it started spreading. It moved from system to system, using old communication channels no longer in use, only ones the humans had once used. Even the Council's secure servers couldn't stop it. The voice kept repeating, "The sky remembers, the silence ends. Terra does not forget." Across hundreds of systems, the message appeared in unison. Civilian ships began evacuating border systems. Military fleets formed, but no one knew what to aim at. The humans had not attacked. They had appeared, watching, broadcasting, judging. Then, without warning, a Terran satellite decloaked above a Council planet. It did not fire. It only transmitted one message straight into the Council's command chamber. A face appeared. It was Commander Riker, alive, awake, and staring directly into their eyes. He spoke slowly, clearly, and without fear. You crossed the line. You opened the vaults. You broke the code of silence. The voice in the void was not a call. It was a test. And you failed. Then the satellite self-destructed. No debris, no evidence, nothing left behind. But in its place, a signal was left hanging in orbit, a single file. Inside, at the coordinates of every Terran war vault across the galaxy, is one simple title. Phase 3. Return. Somewhere far beyond known space, deep in the dark, ancient engines lit up. One by one, old Earth warships powered on, massive vessels from a forgotten age. Behind them, a shadow stretched black, massive and quiet. Not a ship, not a station, but something older, bigger. The core, the last Terran citadel. And now it was waking up.